Hey everyone. So I'm here today to show you a little bit more and to talk a little bit more about how to stay organized for math class and how to take notes, which is a fantastic skill that we should be working on, right? And it's a little bit difficult, like there's a learning curve for it. And you got to kind of figure out what works for you. So I want to give you some different options and show you some different options. So the first thing that I'm going to do, because maybe I'm watching a video for class, maybe I'm sitting in a live session and we're doing warm-ups and I need to keep track of them and I need to be able to go back and reference them. So before I start, I've got my phone out in front of me and I probably shouldn't have it with me. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm actually gonna go put this away so I don't get distracted. So give me a moment. Okay, I'm back. So I'm going to walk you through a few things that I have out on my desk of some options. So the first thing that I have is I have a big binder. So maybe I'm going to keep all of my notes, all of my work, all of my assignments, all of my activities, anything that I'm really doing, whether it's in class or it's between classes. Maybe I'm going to keep it all in a binder. And maybe this is for all of my subject areas and I have dividers, right? Or maybe I'm splitting it up in some way and I have it organized so that I'm able to turn and flip to it during class, or if my teacher asks me to submit something or they want to see something, that I can easily get to it. That's a great way to stay organized. Or maybe you have a binder that's just for math class. I don't hate that idea either. So there's one option. Option two, maybe I'm taking notes in something like a notebook, right? Like a marble composition book. Right, so maybe I'm going to have all of my notes in here and so that I can just turn to the next page and I can keep going. I've even seen some students where they'll write on just the front and one way will be their notes and they turn around and the other way will be like practice problems that we're doing or homework problems or textbook or warm-ups and that idea. That's an awesome thing to do too. So maybe get yourself a marble composition book. Maybe you have a spiral notebook, similar idea, right? So that's a great way to stay organized for just this class and just make sure that this is what is always out in front of you when you're coming to class or when you're getting ready to work on your math work, hopefully at a desk or a table. Maybe you have some sort of like pad of paper, right? And this pad of paper is something that you're using, right? That works too. Or maybe you've got none of these things and you just have a stack of paper, like printer paper, and you've got your printer paper. So you just want to make sure that it stays organized. And so I want to talk about some ways that you can do that so that you're not trying to figure out where is everything, what did I do here, what did I do there, that idea. So maybe you've got this and you're keeping it together with a binder clip. You're keeping it together with a paper clip, or you're just really organized and it's in a nice stack on your desk. I don't know, just try to keep it organized. So the other things that I have out on my desk, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about note taking in a minute, is I have some like material. So I have a pencil. I like to take notes with a pencil in case I make a mistake and I want to go back and erase something. If you want to take it in pen, go for it. It's not a terrible idea because then maybe you're crossing something out and that indicates to yourself later on that that was an area you had trouble in. I like to use pencil though. I like pencil for math class, but I get it if you have a different system. Erasable pen is one that I've seen a lot. I also have out I just grabbed a bunch of Sharpies because sometimes color coding helps. If you've got highlighters, that's great. Colored pencils. I grabbed a stack of markers. I also have some Post-it notes. Not totally necessary. There's other ways to do this if you're color coding things. But this could indicate maybe I have a question when I'm watching a video and I'm gonna put a Post-it note because maybe I watched that video on Monday and I don't see my teacher again until Thursday. And I don't remember what question I had. I'm overwhelmed with work. So maybe that. And then I grabbed a ruler, something with a straight edge because it is math class, that might help a little bit. And then not surprisingly, I have my calculator because it might help me as I'm going through things. But that could be on your computer as well. So that's my introduction to like, what do I have out when I'm getting ready to start math, whether it's on my own or it's actually in front of my teacher. So now I want to talk a little bit more about organizing my notes. So let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do it on paper, and then I'll show you some of my notebooks. So hopefully you're going to be able to see this in a moment. Let's see. Yeah, you can see my paper. Okay, so there's my paper. It's blank right now. So I just went with like the blank paper, guys. So I turn on my video, or I log into class. What did I do with my pencil? There it goes. Right, we don't want to have too much out. And I'm going to tell you what you should be writing at the top of your paper, always. Any guesses? The date. Start with the date. If today is August 31st, write it. Hard for you to see. Why might that be so important for us to write, especially while you're not in front of us right now at school? The date is going to help us to stay organized, right? If you get a paper that is missing or it's out of place, if you have the date on it, it's going to help you figure out where that falls. Where does that fit in all of your work? So include the date. If you want to include the day too, and you want to say Monday, August 31st, go for it. But make it clear that that date is there, right? Maybe if you're doing this for multiple classes, maybe I'm going to write whatever class this is, right? This works in other classes too, but it doesn't have to be for math class or honors geometry or AAF or whatever class you're in. If you're in English 9, write it at the top so that if this is your organizational system for all of your classes, if something gets missing, you know where it can find its way back, or you can help it find its ways back. The next thing I'm going to go ahead and write is I want to write whatever the topic is. So if I'm learning about linear functions, I'm going to write the topic, linear functions, right? And these are all things that maybe before I'm hitting play, maybe before I'm entering class, I'm previewing what's happening, and this is something that I'm going to write. There's my topic, right? And then I can go ahead and I can start the notes. And maybe the first thing I learn about is what is a function. And I can write down some bullet points, and I'm not saying you need to write complete sentences. But maybe I'm going to write down some bullet points. Maybe these were things I already knew, and I'm going to go ahead and check them off of like, not surprising to me, I already knew those, right? Maybe this third one was something new to me, and I want to put a star next to it, right? This was new info to me. So I'm going to have to go back and study that. Maybe I'm going to color code things, right? Maybe I'll even have a key on the side if I want. And then maybe I'm learning about forms of linear equations. And I'm going to write what they're called, right? So, I'm going to write standard. AX plus BY equals C, or AX plus BY plus C equals 0. And I don't know, maybe this was something that confused me. Maybe I didn't really understand this, and I'm going to go back and at a later date or time, whenever I see my teacher, or maybe I'm going to post it on the discussion board, I want to ask a question about that. So I'm going to put a sticky note right there so that I know that I have a question, right? Maybe you don't have a sticky note and you just want to circle it or put a certain color and highlight it, right? And then when we get to, so let's say we keep moving down, we get to examples, right? So maybe this is the end of the notes portion of the video, and then we get to a few examples. Let's say you think you're good to go. You don't need those examples. Write them. Include them in your notes. Include them, and when I'm saying include them, include the entire thing. If what's on the video or what's on the board says, given 2 points, 1, 7, and -5, 2, find the equation of the line. Write the entire thing. It's not going to be meaningful or as meaningful if in 2 weeks from now, you don't remember why you wrote something down here, right? Here, you have something to go back and reference when we get to an assignment or we get to something that you're actually needing to demonstrate understanding. You have something to study from. And you have, like, you can take all of these problems, rewrite them, and make yourself a practice test. It's an amazing skill, right? So when I'm gonna do the work, I'm gonna just write down a note here to myself of show all work. If you create this habit for yourself now, it's gonna be amazing as you move forward, right? So, and do this. And then when we're getting to class, maybe this is content we're working on, maybe you just continue with it. And you write something like, in the next line, so there's my examples, is in class examples, right? So you can remember, what did you do on your own? What did you not? Maybe you're gonna ask this question and then write a note to yourself in another color. So that is a great format for taking notes, especially in a math class. Like, it's in a logical way. Oh, linear, got that? It's like it's done logically. You can follow it. You don't have to have colors. There's other ways to indicate this to yourself, but make a note of things that confused you. Maybe leave room at the bottom for your own questions, right? And you can get, like, if I had a question up here, I'm gonna leave room to get an answer to my question, right? I'm not gonna cram things all around. And maybe then when I'm in class, I'm gonna use a different color to indicate to myself, like, extra things that I got about these topics, right? So I'll go in here and maybe we learned more about what a function was, right? And I can write over here more info. Oh, I spelled more wrong. Info. Oh, you couldn't see that. That I learned in class, right? Indicate that to yourself so you know that you're building on knowledge. Another thing that, and we will work this into videos as we're going, and we will remind you of these things, but another great thing to do when you're taking notes, just gonna grab one more paper, is if something starts off and it's like, hey, we're gonna do 4 examples, split your paper up or split something into 4 spaces. Right? You can cut your paper into 4 boxes so they're evenly spread out and you can follow what's happening, right? So if we intro it of, hey, we're about to do 4 examples, and then maybe you're gonna do 1 on your own and then pause the video and continue watching, right? So that's also a great thing to do and get yourself in the habit of, but try to keep your notes as organized as you can. So, and then when you're done with it, keep it together. If it's going in a binder, it's going in a binder, right? Like, so that these are things like, just stay organized as you're going so you're not trying to figure out where things are later, and come to class the following day with that notebook or those papers or whatever it is out so you're not having to step away and look for it. So just to reframe it really quick, what were some important things that you just learned? Right, start by writing the date, write the topic, paraphrase things. I didn't even say that, but if something is said in a way that you didn't understand it, maybe don't write it. Maybe leave yourself a note about it and be like, there was something about this, but I didn't really get it. Let yourself ask questions through your notes that you can then follow up with us later, or in the discussion board, or through an email, or whatever works for you in that sense, that you can get clarification and you know where you need clarification, because we do have a gap of time between when we see you. These are also great things to come to office hours and ask questions, right? Like, come get help on Wednesdays or Mondays and Thursdays at the end of the day. Stop by so you can say, oh, I was watching that video and oh, look, here's my question. And lastly, whatever you're doing outside of class, whatever you're doing outside of the 2 hours a week that we see you, come with that stuff, that material, when you're ready for class. Oh, and what did I miss? What did I forget to remind you guys of? Put your phone away. So hopefully you got some decent tips about how to take notes and how to keep yourself organized as we're going through math class. If you need any help or support, please reach out to us. And other than that, take care, and you got this, guys.